Yeah.
Okay. We do need some a little more light though, Kyle.
A little more to start? Okay, sorry.
It'll video record with more light.
All right, just turn the one back on.
Back on?
The side one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just turn it back on.
That's all right.
Just turn it like that, it'll be fine.
Right, that's fine. I'd like to introduce, it's my great pleasure, most of you know Bruce Berman. He's a well-renowned coin dealer out of Moraga Numismatic. He shows at our coin shows every year. He's been a member of this club for just Methuselah. Long time. And Bruce is going to give a talk on the Walking Liberty $50. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, well, first of all, I need to clarify something. For a number of years, we've had one program per year devoted to coin grading. In the past, what we've done is brought in some coins and give me a little checklist so that everybody could kind of have a little test. The problem is if you have 35 or 40 people times 10, that's 35 or 40 people that have to look at 10 different coins. It doesn't work, so we're not doing that anymore, even though it is fun. Here's where those of you who are wondering about it, that's why. What we're doing now, last year we talked about just the initial evaluation of a coin. My particular thrust is going to be not to those of you that are the prime, very experienced graders. You guys already know this stuff. But based upon the test scores that I got back from grading a few years back, there are at least 2/3 of you that probably can use a little bit more of the basics. So what I plan to do this year and here forward is take a series. This year we're going to take a look at the Walking Liberty $50. And we're going to talk about the standard coins. We're not going to talk about Mint State. Mint State is a whole different ballpark. And there's no way on earth we're going to be able to handle all of that in this short a period of time. So what we're doing first, and hopefully we'll get a decent shot here. I don't know.
We hope we'll get a decent picture, but this is...
It's okay. If we can't, we can't. I'll do that. It's okay. I happen to be a CERT instructor, Certified Emergency Response Team. And one of the things we always think about is hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So far, this is going to be the worst.
Yes, it is the worst.
Which is fine. It's okay. It's okay. So, unfortunately, for the average adult learner, you retain about 10% of what you hear, 50% of what you see, 90% of what you do. Well, you get the 10% tonight, guys. Sorry about that. We have the same problem on the sheet.
Oh, you put the sheet on there, that'll work.
Let's try.
There you
No, the
go.
sheet's not.
Yeah, that'll work.
Much better.
That'll work.
Just use the sheet, that's
Just
perfect.
use that.
That's all right. That's okay.
You gotta turn it to the other
Tell you what,
side.
okay, we're going to start. We're going to start at the end rather than at the beginning. I have a reason for this.
It's not mine.
Let's do these. We'll start with that one first. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
Okay, well, can we have the offers? Yes, it is. Offers.
Well,
You can. That's all right. Okay.
challenge is it's upside down or backwards.
There we go. Good, good. Okay, bring it down a little bit if you can. Okay, there we are. Okay. There are certain areas. Can we bring it just a little further down again?
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
That's all right.
Good.
Stop.
Right there.
Stop.
That's good.
Okay. The Walking Liberty $50 is kind of interesting because basically you've almost got two sets of grading standards. From 1916 through 1921, the lines are almost non-existent. Beginning after 1921, then we could in fact use as part of the grading standard of the obverse these lines. And the lines we look at primarily are from that point to that point and below, primarily. Other areas we look for in terms of grading the Walking Liberty $50. Half the head is very important, especially when you get into the higher grades, at least AU and above. So we won't devote a lot of time to that. The hand, and especially the thumb, and again, extremely fine and above in grade, would be more important. The areas we really need to think about, of course, the breast. Guys, you all appreciate that, right? Okay.
Chicken, I love chicken.
Some of us women do too, who don't have them.
Oh my God! Too much information.
I'm not going
Hey,
there.
y'all put it out there.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't resist.
That's good.
The sash in this area right here, and then of course, and the sandals. We'll talk about that a bit later. Okay. So those are kind of the areas that we need to focus in on the obverse. On the reverse,
Yep. Right there.
again, since this is all breast people, you're focusing on the breast feathers, focusing up, area up here, area up here, the forelegs, the amount of wing area, detail of the wings that are showing. Okay, that gives you a brief overview of some of the areas that we're going to be talking about particularly. In addition to which, we're going to be talking about the rim. Why would we talk about the rim? It has to do with the amount of rim that is there and how far, how close it is, and it's where it sits in relation to the letters next to the rim. Let's go ahead and we'll go to the first page.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, we'll start with this little guy right here.
Okay.
Now, I looked at three different guides. The A&A grading guide. This is a book by Bruce Fox. It's old. It's actually younger than most of you, not you. This was published in 1993, and it specifically deals with the walking the reading $50. They have quite a section on grading this series. And then just for fun, I also threw in, and this is what we're using tonight, the Coin World Monthly. Comes out every month with a section called the Beginner's Corner, words to that effect. So that's what we're using tonight. But each of these has a slightly different variation. And that would be true if we took into account all of the other 8 or 10 different grading manuals or what have you that are available. So what I'm trying to tell you is grading is not an exact science. Okay? So we're going to talk about generalities. And we're going to talk about this next year and the year after and the year after, unless I get fired. I should be so lucky.
No.
Okay. This is an AG2, about good 2. This is not probably something that most of you would want to have in your collection, unless it might be maybe a 1916 study in the Marine Corps. You might do that. Look at the rims. You can see hardly any letters. You actually can see part of the motto, which is good. You cannot see any detail on the sandals. And the sandals, by the way, are not mentioned in any of these. However, in one of the guides that I used, I think it was photo grade, 30 or 40 years ago, that is one of the grading standards they use. So something to still consider. Grading standards have changed. You're trying to get the reverse? Flip it. You can? Good. Perfect. That's great. Thank you. You see, even here, this is actually better. This is better than the obverse. Because even though the rims are touching the letters and encroaching a little bit, you at least can still read part of that. You can hardly see anything here. Okay, that's an AG. They call that a
3.
Call that a 3.
About good.
I would call it about good 2, or maybe a fair, actually.
Well,
Personally.
right.
Okay.
A fair is a 2 and a 4 is a 1. Did you know that?
Sorry, a 4 is good.
A poor is a 1, a fair is a 2, and about good is 3.
No, a fair is a 3.
So we do have different grading
A fair is a
standards.
1.
No, a 4 is a 1.
AG, AG2, AG3, good 4. This is good 6. Pretty close. Again, as you can see, most of the rim is clear. You have a little encroachment here. It's touching here. You see the full date.
Yeah, you can.
Can't see the sandals, but that doesn't matter. And of course, there
No,
are
I'm
no
saying you
lines,
have to get it.
no lines in the gown. And the outline is just there. Take the reverse, please.
But those are nice examples even for those low graders.
Yeah, they really are. And same thing here, not too bad. And again, you can see some of the feathers on the left wing do show. No detail here, no detail here. That's good. No detail anywhere along here. And these are the areas we look at. Those are the high points of the relief. No matter what series of coins you're looking at, the areas that you're looking for in terms of where are the high points of the relief. The relief being the highest part of the coin design. Any questions about that?
Is that considered junk silver then, when you get like that grade?
It depends on the year. It's 1916? No. If it's 1920, 21, Denver, San Francisco, no. No, you'll pay more than that for those. In fact, 1916, it's a nice AG20, excuse me, a nice AG3, it's worth almost $20. It's not junk silver. And by the way, talking about junk silver, if you have, let's say, a fair or a not good, you will not get as much money as junk as you will be if it's, say, a G6, a good 6 to a very good 8 or better.
Too much silver.
So be aware of that, because at that point, if you're looking strictly at the amount of wear, and with that much wear, you lose a certain amount of the weight of the metal. Right? And by the way, thank you for the question. I do appreciate questions. The worst thing we can do is treat you like mushrooms. And you know, mushrooms are kept in the dark and they're fed organic material. That along with the definition of a stupid question. Anybody know that?
It's not asked.
When it's not asked. Thank you. Okay, any questions about the G6? Solid good, it's a little better than average good, it's not quite a very good. Okay, now this is a very good 10. That's the one thing I don't like about this. I would rather have them on the solid. You know, as you know, a very good 8 is an average good. A very good 10 is a little bit better, but not as good as a fine. Does everybody know the numbering system? Is there anybody here who's not quite sure the numbering system?
These appear to be different than what they currently
Yeah,
have.
it just depends on what you're reading.
Yeah.
It does, but again, I mean, to tell you, the last test that I gave 2 years ago, I had people coming back with VG15s and G12s. I think I saw a couple of VF8s.
What?
Honest to God, I have them. I kept them all. I got them at home. Trust me. So at that time, there were some people who were not quite sure. And incidentally, if there's anybody that has any questions about this and does not want to bring it up here, be happy to talk to you later. Anytime. No problem. Because hey, it's not easy. This is a lot of it is very, very subjective. There is no absolute ironclad way of doing this. So that's why, as we go along, I'm going to, kind of equivocate a little bit here and there. I'm going to explain it. This may be, but yet it may not be, and here's why. Okay, so here we have what is called, the VG10. It's not quite a fine. Notice the date, 1917. You cannot expect to see any gown lines. Remember, the gown lines are from here to there and down, mainly. In higher grades, there should be some up here too. You begin to see a little bit of an outline here. Okay. You begin to see a little more detail here. What's really interesting is these gown lines are sharper than these. These gown lines are sharper than these. You do see a little bit of the sand, a little bit of the outline. However, look here. Look here. So, again, even though these are both pre-1921, pre-1923s, there still are some differences. So you have to kind of look at the entire coin. You have more rim here. Your motto is a little bit sharper. You got some areas that are sharper and some that aren't. Which, by the way, the reason, who knows, why would that be?
Different
Any
strike,
ideas?
strike, hollows.
Strikes, sure.
Strikes
Could
are
be
different.
one was a little bit earlier strike in the life of the die, so you never know. Let's take a look at the reverse. There we go, good, thank you, beautiful. Okay. Now here, again, I like the rim here a little bit better. It's a little better rim. Actually, I like that coin better. But, you know,
Hey, Bruce?
It's a tough call.
Well, I think the toning on this one accentuates the
Yes, it
details,
does.
even though not all of them
It
are
does.
as strong as that one, and that's the key difference there.
Yeah, Larry is pointing out, it's very true. Toning will make a difference because it will show a different gradient. Contrast between the relief and the field. So, absolutely. Okay, let's move along to our, I think the next one, F15. I believe that's correct.
Yes.
Good.
Wait a minute.
Let's see, that should be that way. There we go. Great, thank you. Good,
Getting
beautiful.
dizzy.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Glare.
It's all right.
Well, it's okay, because
Here you go.
this particular
I
area.
have to hold it.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Now, okay, no, okay, it's harder to tell, but it's there. It's okay. You're doing fine.
We're getting busy.
I'm trying to get it to sit properly, but it's impossible.
It's good, though, you know. I think we need to go that way.
Right there.
That's good, that's good.
Close enough.
There you are. Okay. Yeah, again, and as Larry pointed out, the contrast illustrates that better. However, look here. Look here. And here, you begin to see, and it's hard here with this particular resolution, but there are some lines here, which you don't see here, unfortunately. Take a look at the sandals. Look at the motto. See here? Okay, let's bring it up. Yeah, there we go, okay. You can't tell, but there's a lot more detail in the wing here than it was in the very good floor. You see a little bit more definition of the outline of the body, and you can see the eye, which is really very difficult to see in the previous slide, in the very good. And that eye, by the way, is another one to kind of look for to differentiate between a very good and a good. The eye you should be able to see part of the eye. It won't be crisp, but you should be able to see it in a very good. Okay. Look at the detail here, and if you kind of think back to the one before, it didn't have this much detail in the wreath, or again, in the lettering. And the same thing here. Very, very crisp, full, solid rim, differentiated and separated from all the letters. And you can see good, again, you have to understand that this projector does not quite do what we'd like to do. But there's a lot more detail there than I think there is. Okay, move along here. VF35.
I have to hold it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Lindsay Beth, calm
great.
down there.
And it's hard to tell, but
Oh,
believe me, there
they
are
can't
lines.
see it way at the back.
Okay, now here you begin to see more of an outline of the left breast, more than you see over here. Okay? You're beginning to see more of the hand, more of the detail of the hand. Notice the head. You see a little more, see a little more of the head, a little more of the hair, a little more detail here than there. A lot more detail here. Although that contrast that Larry mentioned earlier, hard to tell, but if you were to see the actual coin, yeah, you would be able to see it. Okay? Okay. Any questions here?
Well, that's the one I had to question out when I saw that in Coin World,
Yeah.
because the one on the left, to my ignorant ways,
Yeah.
looks better.
It looks better, it really does.
And even
but-
the reverse.
So my
However, let me just take a minute. You're right. Again, we have to take into account the problems with the projector. But look at this. Take a look here. Look here, and look here. Look there, look there.
When you get at that level, traditionally, it's been the breasts that come out first and the full head.
Well, yes, however, believe me, a lot of people do not put enough importance on the hand. And especially when you get into the grades.
Is that traceable, the fact that older books would state that sometimes the hand was weakly struck?
That can be a problem. Point well taken. Yes, the hand oftentimes is weakly struck. In fact, to find a walking liberty half, even in uncirculated, with a decent, well-pronounced hand, and especially the thumb, and the head, with being full. How many of you are familiar with the full head on a standing liberty quarter?
Yep.
Okay, so some of you are not. But what it has to do with, and I wish we could get our slab up if we can. With a full head coin, and there's never been a big deal made about the walking liberty half, full head. The full head, that means the full face. The full face is rounded out and all the details show. Normally, they're flat. If you take a look at 90% of your uncirculated standing liberty quarters, you're going to find that the head is fairly flat. You don't really, you don't get a dimensionality.
There you go, Bruce. If
You
hold
with me
it
on
like
this?
that, you can-
It's still overexposed.
But still, well, that's because it's got so darn much luster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an MS64, so it's kind of tough.
Put it in the auction.
Right. Take a look here.
I think raw coins do better than.
And yeah,
Anything
yes,
in plastic.
Yeah.
the first thing that most of our male graders look at are the breasts. Okay, that's okay. And that is a very important thing to check. You gotta check them out. But there's so many other areas that would really have a truly nice, fully struck coin. Yeah, if the hand is well struck, then the rest of the coins can be well struck also. Just because the breast is well struck does not mean that the rest of the coin is well struck. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at right here, I see people buy slabs, and I think you all know my attitude about that. You buy the coin out of the slab. The other thing that I would like to stress is as a buyer, when you're buying a coin, look at the eye appeal. Don't look at the grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the eye appeal.
Yeah.
Does it bounce at you? Does it talk to you? Or is it kind of flat? Yes, it may be. It's going to be fine, or AU, or BU, or whatever. But if the coin doesn't talk to you, don't buy it. Even a spy coin, I'm going to say, don't buy it. You know, it has to talk to you. But
Bruce, I'm big on clear fields, especially on the larger silver coins like the Morgan piece and the Walker. And this coin here, the 18 on the far top right, it's got some scratches on the field, which are very distracting. So in my view,
That's
I
eye
would
appeal.
not buy that coin.
that's right, that's eye appeal. Exactly right. You know, the rest of the coin may have the detail of an extremely fine or whatever.
But is that leading to that blessed green eye thing now is being added on the slabs? You know, they put the greens, whatever they call that thing.
Well, yeah, probably. What I want to see is what the next thing is going to do to come out to grade the CACs. But it boils down to, what does your eye see?
Yeah.
And, you know, a CAC probably is going to be a nicer looking coin. Is there anybody here that has ever seen a coin in a PS, PCGS, or NGC coin, and they saw a grade and thought, how did they get that grade?
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yes. Yes.
I was looking for a half-dime proof,
Okay.
and I had two of them, a 62 and a 63. I bought the 62. It was a much better looking coin.
Eye appeal.
Yeah, eye appeal, it was all there.
And if we get nothing else out of what we're talking about tonight, That's the point I want to get across. And I'll do this every year. I already have a series for next year, unless I'm fired, you know, make it lucky.
Just keep talking about breasts, young man. You'll get fired.
Getting fired up.
Which one are we on here?
Get some laurels in there.
We're on, only on 35, let's go, we'll flip it over and start talking about the 80s. By the way, if you think this is confusing, when you get into the mid states,
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking.
I can do it, I'm not gonna do it. Not until everybody in this class has a PhD in grading, because all you do is get confused. Okay, so here we go. This, I believe, is an about uncertain, is that 80 to 50?
Yeah, it's me.
No, sorry. Extremely 545. Now, EF45 is a pretty good grade. Now, let me ask you a question. If we go back to that previous one, can we do that? I need to do that too. I'm sorry.
Okay, which one was it?
This one. Yeah, this guy right here.
Okay.
This one.
You had it the first time.
Wait,
Like driving a trailer.
I'm trying to figure out where
Do the opposite of what your brain's telling you.
my brain is telling me to get the hell out of here.
You're doing great.
No, I'm not.
Breathe in. Breathe in.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Oh, there it is, that's great.
Well, you got it. We'll use an example, so I know. Okay. Now you're doing all that work.
Now, yeah, oh, you're ready to go back. Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay.
Okay, so you want this top one
Yeah, there
here?
we
Yes.
Okay.
And it's
This-
right on
this-
the-
This actually is a great example. Look at the two coins very closely. Which one do you think has the best detail? One on the left?
Left,
One on the
yeah.
right? One on the left?
One on the left has more head detail.
That's my Tony.
Now, which one has the best eye appeal?
On the
Right.
Right.
But again, which one has the best detail?
Surprisingly, on the one on the left, you can see a faint outline of the ear, and you see nothing of the ear. E-A-R on the head of the other.
That's right. And take a look in here, and in here.
Yep.
Look at there.
Yeah.
That's not a good
Nothing.
example. Look at that hand, look at that hand.
The young man has a question.
The one on the left,
Is
yes,
the one on the right AU 53?
I'm sorry,
Is the one on the right an AU 53?
yeah. That's the grade that you assigned it. One on the left is an XF45. So if you were going to buy one of these coins for your collection, or you were thinking about buying one, which one would you want to buy? The 45 or the 55 or the 50, whichever they, I think 53, I think it's grade 53.
Yeah.
The 53.
I got involved in a discussion on Coin Talk a week or so ago about strike.
Yes.
And somebody posted, apparently PCGS had just done something like the first or one of the few Walker 67s.
Okay.
And they posted a picture of it. And I swear I've seen AU 55s that had better hand detail than that 67 did.
Yeah.
No
It
argument.
was a poor strike.
Subjective.
No argument.
Yeah.
So you're, but I've
That way.
Mike.
Yeah.
From listening to the people and yourself, you know, they like this one better than this one, really. It sounds to me like grading's more subjective than scientific.
Exactly, that's what he said when he
I rest my case.
Yeah.
I rest my case, Mike.
Looking at the 1919, and this is a discussion that goes back to people who've been in the hobby for years. If you look at it, there's cabinet friction on the 1919.
It's been around a long time, Mike.
Yeah.
If you've been around since 1919, you'd have cabinet friction also. Why would that have been around that long? Okay, I don't like that. Let's go to the next one.
That's when they get pulls around the cabinet, they're just sitting there.
That
pull
coin
tray
I
out.
like. Why do I like that coin? First of all, this is an AU58.
It's getting more detail. Wait a minute.
Okay, where are the details? Look at the head. You can see that it's fleshed out a little bit.
You see the eye, yeah. Yeah.
Nice boots, excuse me.
You're on fire here.
Sorry. And look at the thumb.
All the men are
You guys
smiling.
should see the thumb. That's something I have to look for, yes.
So the AU 58 grade is my favorite grade, and I'll tell you why. If you're very careful when you buy high-end, eye-appealing 58, I have actually submitted them to CAC, and they come back with a gold sticker. And what they're telling you is that probably a 63. Because to be a high-end 58, you're not going to have the nicks and abrasions and the hairlines. You might have the cabinet friction, but it's a much better looking coin than any 62 or 61 out there.
Everybody hear that?
And they do sell sometimes for 63 money or close to it.
That's right.
I appeal in the long run, whether it has a CAC sticker on it or not, will always sell, just look at the auctions on the very nice coins and what they sell for.
Look at the coin, look at the coin. Now, again, unfortunately, by the way, I do have an MS-64 after or during the break, or if you want to take a look at one and really see what these details look like, we can do that. Unfortunately, our electronics don't want to cooperate with it.
You
Okay.
could take it out of the slab.
I guess I could. Now, here's where you begin. We'll take it out of the chest. We've already the Liberty's breast, now we'll look at the Eagle's breast. You can see here, definitely more detail. Look here, here you really can't tell it. This is another very important area to check.
Yeah.
There, and don't overlook the head. And again, they're just, the photographs, there's nothing quite takes the place of looking, yes.
The other reason a lot of these coins where the obverse, the reverse has sometimes better luster and it looks
Yes.
a few grades higher.
Almost always.
Is, there's this theory of the weight when they fall in the bag, but I've got a better theory, is when people handled coins in those days, they're raw, they put them in board and stuff, we really focus on the front, your hands and thumbprints touch the front, and the back gets neglected, and that's why it stays so nice. That's why you got, look great.
That certainly is very possible. Although I don't know if that explains the relatively few number of scratches in the field. You always get more scratches in the field of the obverse than the reverse, why, I don't know.
But the
Bob
initial-
talked about that with the dropping out.
Well,
of
the Morgan dollars are different,
press.
just the weight of the coin.
Do you think it would help if we press it down a little bit so we have a better image on this guy?
Bruce,
Yes.
in that regard, with the silver issues that have heavier weight, like these halves, the Morgans, the Peace, and also the Franklins, we cannot forget about the third side. We got obverse, reverse, but the third side, and we have to examine them for huge gouges on the
Right, but
green.
we're not into that with circulated grades. Uncirculated, absolutely,
That
you're
matters
right.
more, yeah.
Yeah, the point that Bob makes is, there are three sides of the coin.
Yep.
You've got the obverse, the front, you've got the reverse, the back, and you have
The edge.
the edge. The edge. Yeah.
When slabs first started with the ANEX in the early 80s, there was an effort to bring both sides separately.
Yep.
I know it's beyond the talk, but why suddenly has that dropped for the past 30 years? The initial slabs, ANEX had AU 58, 57. I'd like someday a discussion why that was stopped.
Yeah.
Because of the pricing.
Yeah.
It would make the pricing too confusing.
On one side.
Is that okay?
Well, that's much better.
Oh.
Much better.
I like that.
I'll take the one on the right.
One thing we can do, another area to look for, look for the eagle's toes in the higher grades. When I say higher, extremely fine through AU. I'm not going to get into MS. That's a step beyond the scope of what we're trying to do tonight. So again, unfortunately, our photograph is not quite good enough. And I do have several reference pieces with me, so if any of you want to take a look at them during the break or afterwards, we can do that, and you'll be able to see a little bit better probably than we can see on the screen.
So the one on the left's a 50 what?
I'm ready. I was just
53?
getting to that one. Question, I'm sorry, I heard.
That's all right, I got the answer. Mike, I think, gave it to me.
Okay. Okay, it's now time ready for Q&A, and there must be some other questions.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I can't believe I'm that good that there are no
You've got some fancy references that you use for coming up with your
Yes.
grading criteria. Some of us go to a coin show and we carry the red book with us. And the dealers think that we're looking at prices, but maybe what we're looking at is the grading standards. So how are we going to come out compared to what you're doing if we just use a simple red book?
Oh, sure. I like the red book. I would never leave home without it. However, when it comes to grading, my own personal preference is the A&A. They have their numismatic grading, and it covers all the different grades for every single series, every U.S. coin. Photo grade's pretty good. I used to use that. I find I got to get more detail and a little bit better description what I want to look for in this character right here. If you are a really serious collector of a series, and when I was a series collector, believe me, I have individual books for each series. This happens to be, again, Walking Liberty $50. Bruce Fox, I sold my collection a number of years ago, so I don't know if he has a newer edition out. This is 1993. The more,
Yeah, I got a question. Bruce, do you think the grading standards of these coins have changed any in the last
Absolutely.
20 years?
absolutely, they have. In many cases,
Would you
they
comment
like
on that?
I'll give you one specific that I really happen to like. How many of you are serious collectors of the Indian Air Buffalo nickel? Not too many people, well, okay. But that's actually one of the best examples. It used to be with those guys, to be a very fine 20, you had to be able to see the tip of the horn. It could barely merge with the fur. Nowadays, you see them all the time. VF20s, you see if you're lucky, 2/3, 30% of the horn. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. With that series, you look for some other things as well. But this is true with almost every series. The grading standards, to my personal opinion, have been degraded. They're just not as important as they are. Go ahead.
If I buy a coin that's being sold as XF+++.
Yes.
The slider. And what makes you decide whether it's more towards XF or more towards AU? Where do you look first, or what is the? You don't have much time, let's say. So
That is a great question. The question is, what happens if you're looking at a coin at a show or a shop, and it's got XF++ or whatever. How do you grade it? Well, the real secret is how many of these have you seen? There was a speaker here last year or the year before, and I had a show, a coin show. I was stuck. I couldn't get here. It's a PCGS grader. He says the first 10,000 are the toughest. There are certain series I can look at almost blindfolded and tell you what they are. There are other series I haven't seen enough of. I look at the books that I've got, and then I stop and I think. I may go online to see what's happening in the various auctions with that particular coin, just to be sure. Because, as you say, a lot of our borderline. It depends upon what you think of it. How do you like it?
Two more questions. We got to move on.
I just want to add, on September the 15th,
That's not a question.
on September the 15th, at Kagan's auction, if you want to see the grading standard, registry set number 1 of Walking Liberty $50 is being offered.
Great.
In
Thank you.
individual basis.
Okay, and you had a question.
Yeah, I had a question, because I'm not real good at coin collecting. My eyes aren't that good, so I have to trust people somewhat. So I go to the coin show, and I look at the coin collect, and I see the people up, and I'm thinking these are the professionals that know what grades they got. Now, I'm looking at these coins, and they're grading, 45 and 58. And I said, shoot, my book, that says that's way expensive. I'm going to send it in and have it graded. Well, it doesn't come close to what these people, these professionals at our coin show are putting out.
Let me deal with that. Before I became a dealer, I was a collector. When I would go to a show, especially through a lot of dealers, there were certain series I was very familiar with. I would go to a table, somebody I didn't know. I'd take a series, I'd say, let me see these 3 coins. I'd take a look at them. If they were overgraded or overpriced, I walked away. Period.
But I don't know.
More time.
You know, these guys gotta be honest at the coin show.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Some of us are.
The right price.
So unfortunately, that's where you have to educate yourself
By the
on
book.
the series you're collecting. That's just that simple. All right, last one.
Last question.
Just a statement and then the question. When we had the PCGS grader here, somebody asked the question, what magnification, what kind of glass do you use in looking at these coins? He said, I don't use a glass, I use my naked eye, because I know the look.
Well, but he also has good eyesight. Number two, last year, I did give a presentation. Coin grading had to do strictly with lighting and magnification. Were you here last year?
Yes.
And when PCGS grades a coin, they spend probably less than 30 seconds on it, because they look at so many, they just know.
They know.
Okay, I'm fired.
All right,
Well,
hey,
maybe
hey.
they know.
So,
Let me make a couple comments about grading.
you gave
And
us
if you're collecting, even a seasoned collector, or if you're just starting, I don't know where you're at in that continuum. But you have to get some knowledge about grading before you throw your money out there. Because if you start throwing your money out there and taking people's word, especially for a raw coin.
So our people in the club don't call these people on it, don't say, that's not honest.
No, we ignore them.
Well,
You make your own decision on the grade.
Yeah.
You have to
It's
read, you have
subjective.
to get some education.
Yeah,
You can't take somebody
I haven't
else,
seen it.
even the color's worth.
I'm already on that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
I-
be careful
no way I'm gonna-
because there's counterfeit. I went to a
Yeah, I
coin
have
show,
too many coin shows
the
to
dealer
start
sold us
filling.
a counterfeit coin. And we found out, took it back to the dealer, took it back.
And this is all why, this is just a little half-hour program.
yeah.
This is why you have to go to seminars like what Northern California Numismatic Association is putting on September 16th. This is why you have to go to the programs we have throughout the year. We've had many, many topics here that you have missed.
Yeah, but the general public that we're inviting doesn't know that, and they're being taken for a ride.
And what happens, they don't blame the dealer, they blame the hobby. That's the price you
Yeah, he's
don't
right.
hear, because
Yeah,
I
he-
vote a lot more than all of you.
You're right. You're
That's what
absolutely
they're
correct.
blaming the hobby, which affects us as individuals, those crooked coin collectors.
Now, yeah, you know,
Thank you for backing me up, Bruce.
so, so we're gonna move on here, but just he brings up a very crucial, important topic. You know, I started collecting when I was 13, and I remember when that advent of PCGS came along, and I sent them 10 raw coins. 6 of them came back slab, 4 came back in body bag, 3 came back the way they were. You learn, you're lucky, you learn through years and years of trial and error. Because these dealers, guess what? They're human beings like you. Some of them are good, some of them are not, some of them are crooks. It's just the reality of the reflection of society. No, they are. They're all over a bell-shaped curve.
Yeah.
Just because you're a coin dealer doesn't mean you're on some pedestal. None of them are.
That's true.
But some of them are. You have to be educate yourself, or yes, so that's the sad part of why this hobby is blamed. So many people haven't taken to the cleaners. And hey, I'm responsible for what I collect, and I should know what I'm looking at. And unfortunately, it's taken me
No,
many years to learn.
it's not buyer beware. It should not be buyer.
Well, that's where the
beware.
slapping is coming
Unfortunately,
in
you
to
need to know
help
what you're looking
fix
at.
that. So
Yeah.
if you're really not sure, then buy certified coins.
Yes.
Right to the ANA, because
Or-
David Bowers has proposed to the ANA, there be a certification to be a coin dealer.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Larry?
Yes, one last one, then I got something. We gotta move on.
Okay, there are people that do business with me. Sometimes they will bring coins to me that other dealers have and say, what do you think? And other times, I have people come to my show, is it okay if I show it so-and-so? Absolutely. Absolutely. If a dealer will not let you show the coin that you're not sure about to a dealer that you know and feel comfortable with, walk away. That's a problem.
So Bruce, that's a great point, because even as well and good as I think I am, I'll still take the coin and I'll, hey, Mr. Dealer, can I show this to other dealers? Sure, go right ahead. And the other thing is, when you go to sell a coin, the dealer's gonna tell you everything that's wrong with it. The same coin company's gonna tell you everything that's right
They
with
do
it.
it. They do it.
Reality of it. Because no coin is perfect, they all have their issues, there's pros and cons to every one. Okay, we gotta move on. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Good.